No, give up rights, but give them to somebody who might be able to help you and do something with it. I'm saying don't do it in just a localized situation where it just sits there and nothing happens with it. As long as you feel that someone can do something for your song and for you, that's fine. There are many people who take on publishing and take on records and say they can do things. Some of them can, some can't. You just have to evaluate it for yourself, and they don't have to be large major companies. They can be entrepreneurs who do it as well.
Anytime you are giving up pieces of something, it should be for advantage. Like you give up, say, 20% to a manager. Well, theoretically, a good manager will make the band more money than the 20% that he's taking. It's not just like giving away money. 10% to an agent. Theoretically, a good agent will get you so many dates and make you so much money that you don't even notice it. You're actually making more money. And same thing with publishing. If you bring in a good publishing company who actually markets your songs and actually is creative, and so it's like bringing somebody else into your camp, into your corner to push your project. So that what you want.
And they deserve to get paid.
Yeah, and they deserve to get paid, and they're going to be worth their money that they're getting paid.
What I do with acts from this region as it relates to publishing is I take a certain percentage, depending on how they relied on me, what portion of my resources they relied on. If they need me to do everything, buy their tape, give them a rehearsal space, I take more. If they come ready with a few bucks to put up front, I take less. But my relationship with them is I'm always willing to give up half of what they've offered me. Richard recorded a song on a project of mine with one of the artists he was producing. I held on to everything I could through the demo process until it came time to negotiate, and I gave it half of it away. You know, so the artist.
Not to me.
No, not to Richard. But you know, that's basically our rule of thumb. And if the people don't want to deal with publishing, always educate who you're working with. I mean, make sure that one of the first things you do is insist that they educate themselves, so that you're not looking at a blank stare when you're talking about publishing. And like when Jeff made a comment about, you know, half the publishing is a quarter of the song, you know, quarter of the available money. Most guys just go, but they don't really know what the heck you're talking about. So, you know, get them educated, and sometimes points work great. I just did a record for a guy and took 4 points. And it's going to be great for me, and it didn't hurt him at all. I paid everything up front. It was a major risk for me, but I just, every time I went out to see the guy play, it was just like, damn. So I risked, and it worked that time. Sometimes it doesn't work.
I'll change the subject here. My question had to do with distribution for a new label. I've been involved in some reissues outside of my band, just because I felt that records should be like the name and disparity. And so I've got some recent release, and I've worked with some other independent labels that were already established. And it's really hard for them to compete because of the distribution that we can get. We went with some national distributors, and they don't pay. They don't pay you. Your product, they sell it, they don't pay you. You're coming out to the point where we're owed thousands of dollars, and even though the record was a success, we're still in the hole. And with my own band, I'm scared to death to send a product and distribute it, even if they're interested. Because you figure, you know, you got all this money tied up, you're selling your product. It's like, I think last year, Fargo ended up holding
Indeed. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Big companies too.
EMI.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always thought that was like the Achilles tendon of the whole indie. What did you plan on doing about it? You don't get any revisions?
No. Us, no.
No, for those same reasons. That nobody gets paid. You have to have an enormous success to get really any money out of it. I mean, that's way too cynical.
It's a risk. It really is a risk in the business. I mean, it happens a lot, especially for an indie. you can actually have a hit and go out of business, because what you're doing is all of a sudden you're starting to move records, and you manufacture 20,000 or 40,000 records, and you ship them to the distributor, and there's a delay time because you're paying for all this up front, and they have basically net 60, which stretches to net 90, after, they send it out, and it sits in the stores for a while, then it sells, the stores have net 60, they get back, they pay it, and then the distributor sits on it, and even if they're ethical, it takes a while to get your money, and the hit can actually break the independent company because they have enough capital to cover it. But usually, if it's an obvious hit, they can find money, because people at that point are willing to invest because the risk is gone as far as, people actually like this record. But yeah, we're lucky, we have good distribution, and right after our first quarter that we went with them, we got paid 4 days after the quarter. It was unbelievable. Big fat check. Like, hey, this is great.
Yeah, ultimately it's a business of demand and distribution. I mean, God, if we gave you a Rolling Stones album, you could distribute it. You could, if people want it, they'll buy it from you and pay for it. Something that sells a couple thousand units isn't real demand in the scheme of things, unfortunately. I mean, when they're talking about Spice Girls, and you're saying, "No, I need to collect my couple $1,000s," it's very difficult. But you can get it. Do you call the people every day? Just say, "Hey, cut me half of it now, and we'll deal with the rest later." I can do anything to get some of
What
it.
happened in one case is that we just stopped dealing with them. Even though they owed us $1,000, we still wanted to ship product to you.
So say, "Give me some of the money, and I'll ship you some more."
Finally said, "Screw you, you're not getting any more our money." And then what happened was, because we sold out of the whole first run, there was another independent distributor that was dying to buy it. So we said, "Okay, you manufacture the rest of the thing. You put your money on it, you become better." We ain't going to do that. So there's the customer we have to do the barcode to get them out. But I mean, what do you guys do? Who do you use? Name names and
Yeah, we at first went through a series of independent distributors, and even we had the same problem. We now go through a company called Proper. They're great. Okay, I would recommend them highly. Your product is going to have to be worthwhile, but they can get it into the same chains, we think, as major distributors. They're people who have music at the core of what they do. They think of marketing ideas. They're really worthwhile to deal with. Now, we've just started dealing with them. I think it's going to work out fine, but I'm realistic enough to know that unless I get incredibly lucky at radio, or for some reason the band gets in a movie or something, the numbers of records we're going to sell are going to be limited initially. Still, I think there's a better chance with independent distributors than if we would have gone with an ADA or an RED, a larger. Which one?
We know them.
We know them. They're pretty good. But they're small. They're
barely invisible.
That's okay. A lot of us hang on by a skin of the teeth. That's not
They actually pay us, though.
They paid us, and they were decent. But what I meant to say was that when you deal with major labels, you get no attention. You have to fight for each inch of space. With Proper, you'll get attention.
Yeah, just so you know, there's every year like 20 or 30,000 releases of all styles of music. I mean, can't do the math. Richard can't either, but see, if there's 365 days and 24 hours in a day, it's like somewhere around 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 hours in a year. You couldn't listen to every record. You couldn't get through it. You constantly did that. There's so much product out there. A distributor basically isn't going to sell your records. They have relationships with the retail accounts. A retailer doesn't want to deal with the 300 or 400 or 500 different record companies or the thousands of bands. So they say, "Look, I'll deal with one guy that'll bring me hundreds of pieces of product." That's all your distributor is going to do, typically. They can just make it appear there if there's some demand, but record stores are businesses. They they actually buy the product that they put on the shelf. They buy it from the distributor. They don't want to put out money that they don't think someone's going to come in and buy it. You know, if the band from Harrisburg, why should some record store in Boise, Idaho stock it? Why? So when you have a distributor and he goes to his accounts and shows them, these are all the new releases for the month. They go, I never heard of any of these bands, so I won't buy them. If there's some demand, he knows how to order it. But the situation with Proper that we just entered into and that you're going to enter into is a little different, where they actually go and, well, we believe they're going to go make an attempt to solicit a little more to their accounts. They have a field staff of a couple hundred reps that are out there basically pounding the pavement, trying to get somebody in Boise to say why they should stock it now, why this band is special.
I use Loser Records uses Touchwood, which is a relatively new independent distribution company out of New York, but they're backed by a lot of money, and they've been very, so far, honest with me, and every time they don't get all the stores in the country, though they are in all the chains, but whenever we get airplay, we've been up to about 60 radio stations so far, and as soon as we find out what stations we're on, we get right back to them, and we cover all the retail outlets in that market. They're right on it, and you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, we do the same thing. I mean, these are two examples of distribution companies that people seem to be satisfied with. We give them in-depth marketing plans. We have a band out on the road, Consolidated, that's had some success in the past, and that makes it a little easier to get into some accounts. But we give them complete marketing plans. We tie in the tour. They follow the dates. We make sure that there are records there. It can't get people in to buy it, but at least we know that as a distributor, they're cooperative, and they really try to make this product work. We're now going into our second and third. We'll have about 10 releases out this year through them, and at the end of the year, we'll evaluate it again. I'm hoping it will be great, and there's really no way to tell. I was going to say something because, I guess everybody's interested in some way in succeeding in this business. The truth is that I started as a songwriter, and I started very young, and the first records were just great, and they were magic, and they just sold, and I became successful overnight, literally. After that, I continued. It became more and more work, but it's still fun, and I still do it because of that. But the root of it all is, and you'll hear it over and over again, the music. If you do good music, you do it for yourself and it's good. You'll do it for people around you. They'll like it. It'll be good within your area. You can't be responsible for what other people think, ever. You can't figure out what a record company might want to get you signed, because if you get signed for the wrong reason, your record won't sell. So none of that matters. And the most significant ingredient I tell us to everybody is, you just keep learning and keep doing good work and get yourself in position. Because in the end, the whole clue to the whole thing is it's all luck. It's nothing else. It's all luck. But the work is, you have to be in position to take advantage of the luck when the wheel comes around. It comes around to everybody. None of us are geniuses. It comes around to everybody. You just have to be in position to take advantage of luck. And that's where the work is. And you get there by doing good work and by making good contacts, meeting people, stay in contact with them, If you ask me something and you want to talk to me about something, get my number, find out where we are online, Stay in touch. If I find somebody here that I think is interesting, I'm going to stay in touch with them, And that's how it works. There's no mystery to it. I've never found a mystery to it. So if I were to give you any sort of advice from what I've learned from beginning to end, that's it. Get yourself in position so you take advantage of the opportunity when it arises. Otherwise, you're just going to be passed over and somebody else will get it.